Hello! We're back.
We are back.
I'm gonna play this Vanilla Ghost House, which sounds super boring. Not kinky at all. Oh, we're in the vanilla. We're in the Vanilla Dome. This is not how I roll. Not how I roll. Unless we're talking about the flavor.
Oh yeah.
We're talking about the sexy sex.
Ooh.
No thanks.
Yeah, my girlfriend's white, so I guess vanilla ice cream is my flavor. Gamer.
Malbeast. And I believe I promised a rant about sex of the lesbian variety. So I have a lot to say about it too, goddammit, as I'm hopping around these little ghosts. And this goes for all porn. I feel like a lot of stuff is kind of obnoxiously unrealistic to the point where, like, I can't get down with it. Like, I hate porn where the people try to touch each other as little as possible so that you can just, like, see, you know, the sight of penetration. It's like, that's not what I want to see.
Okay,
like,
so
I want to see two people going at it. I don't want to see just the sticking it in. Yeah, I would just buy like
that's like a camera angle too.
I would just buy a fleshlight and a dildo and do it myself. Like if that's what I was into, I just like
just mash them together.
Just watch that.
Like,
it's not my jam.
I find it so funny because I come from a theater background, so when you're on stage, you have to be at a 3/4 angle for things.
Yes.
And guys like always do that when they're in porn penetrating. They're like at a 3/4 angle.
Well, the director's telling them to do it.
I know, it's just funny.
It's hilarious.
Well,
and
being
that's part
open
of
to the audience kind of thing.
Yeah, and then
It just makes me laugh every single time.
But and then like, you know, the guy will like not touch. Wait, shit. Damn it! I fucked up.
It's okay. You can go through the door and go back and
again.
hit the pee switch.
So, a lot of stuff, because I know it's for young straight guys. Like when you type when you type in lesbian sex, like that's the target audience. So it's a fantasy. It's not really supposed to be realistic. It's what's titillating to
tits.
Tits. It's two guys. Whoa!
I think that's
Holy
actually where
shit!
you're supposed to go, Melanie.
Well, there's two ways to get out of here.
Oh, is there?
And that's the hard way.
Oh, is that the secret? The secret.
God, I have fucked myself pretty...
Oh, you almost had it. How did you just do that?
I'm not sure. I got the touch. I got the power.
Bad touch. Bad touch.
I have like... I'm doing this very unorthodox.
Well, you were like standing right there and went straight up, and I was like, what?
I'm not sure, man. Okay, here we go. That's what I was trying to do. God. Just doing this channel, just like the small bit that we've done, and, you know, the teeny tiny little impact we've had so far, like, I have so much more respect for people who do Let's Plays, trying to, like, talk and play at the same time. Like, everyone who's like, why did they fuck up that part? It's like, yeah, but they got it on the second try, man, and they're doing shit. It's hard.
It is. It's hard to form your words together in a cohesive sentence and be funny and play the game well at the same time.
I'm failing at all three of those things right now. Like, it's not fun. I mean, it is. It actually.
Sometimes you just end up with those moments of utter silence where you're just like,
we're gonna go through the door.
Trying harder to comprehend what you're doing than trying to actually talk.
Yeah. So anyway, lesbian sex. So the worst things that I've encountered, and I don't mean it's mostly just kind of like funny and not hot when I say worst, is when like a guy.
Oh, the switch was in there.
Ball penis.
You can go get the coins first if you want to.
That's what I was gonna do. When like someone sees something in like quote lesbian porn, and they're like, this must be what chicks like, because it's a chick on chick porn, so I'm gonna do this to a chick. And then I'm just like, what are you doing? Like the patting of the vagina. Like,
yeah.
Like, okay, so like say this is just like, you know, just kind of like,
oh, yeah.
No one can see, but I'm just kind of imitating, like, just just kind of like slightly smacking the outside of the vagina.
It's not pleasurable.
Yeah. Well, okay.
I'm not even a lady, and I know that.
Well, the first time, because this has happened more than once. The first time that I experienced that, I was, on the younger side, so I wasn't really good at like expressing myself yet. I would just kind of like say nothing and deal with it, because I didn't want to stop having sex. Like, I don't want to embarrass the person or like make them feel like I'm not into it. But eventually I was just like, what are you doing? And they're like, oh, I saw it in a lesbian porn. It's like what the one woman did to the other woman, like, afterwards. And I was like, I don't know where they came up with it, but don't feel obligated to do that, because it's doing zilch for me. So I don't know the origins. But what made me think about that was the penis smacking thing we were talking about in the last episode. I will say though, like, as I've kind of gotten older, like, some stuff that I used to think was kind of silly, like, now I'm into. I'm like, okay, that's hot. Like, God, this is gonna get debaucherous really fast. Like, it hasn't been already. Like, spitting, like, I used to think was kind of gross, and now I'm just like, spit everywhere. Like, let's make this nasty.
Spit is the best lube.
Yeah, well,
it is.
Not really, but you know.
Well, yes, it depends on what you're lubing.
Yeah.
Butt stuff always get real lube.
Yes.
Sometimes.
Well, most of the time. It depends. If you know yourself, if you know your body and you know what you're capable of, and you feel brave.
Well, some people don't produce a lot of saliva, and also their saliva's kind of dry.
Yeah.
If you have a real soppy saliva.
If you have a really what?
Really soppy saliva, go for it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, I feel like I have a normal amount of saliva producing capability.
It's not like abnormal.
I've never had a complaint in either direction.
Nice.
Yeah. But yeah, just realism. Like, the porn that I find myself, like, legitimately enjoying is, I don't want to say, like, super amateur, but the stuff that you can tell that, like, the people are actually enjoying themselves and they're not just, like, in it for the paycheck.
Like homemade kind of stuff?
Not even homemade. I feel like recently, like within the past couple years, there's been this new middle ground between like the hyper-produced, unrealistic stuff and the really sloppy, lazy, not necessarily the most attractive people in the world making like homemade stuff. Because with amateur porn, like you don't know what kind of folks you're gonna end up looking at. That sounds really mean. Like, I shouldn't. And anyone who's brave enough and kinky enough to do that, fucking power to you, man. I'm not hating anyone. I think it's kind of cool, actually, that the internet has brought out this side of humanity that's clearly been there all along. Like, it's not like we're just discovering this new thing. People are very, very much exhibitionists naturally. I love that, like, Pornhub, the website, has started releasing a lot of its statistics about, like, viewing habits. And there'll be things like during the Super Bowl, viewership will go down. And then on one of the recent Super Bowls, when it seemed like the game was over, like, before it was actually over, like, in the city of the losing team, like, the porn stats started to go back up, like, before the game was over. Because they were like, we're not gonna win.
We're not gonna win.
Back to porn! Immediately back to porn.
Heck yeah.
I think it's cool. I think that, I'm all about our society moving towards, like, a more sex-positive direction, like, being more open and honest about the fact that this shit's never gonna go away. People are never gonna want to stop having sex. Nor should they.
Yeah, because that's just bad. It's bad for you.
Yeah.
Sex is good for you. Not having sex is bad for you.
It's true. It makes you sad.
I've seen on a lot of YouTube videos that lesbians actually like to watch gay porn more than lesbian porn.
Like dude on dude, you mean? That is actually something also I've noticed in my many, many years in many, many fandoms where fan fiction happens. A lot of the authors are into girls, either exclusively or primarily, but will write like guy on guy erotica and be like into it. Like they're not doing it like tee penis. Like they're like fuck yeah penis, but like only the penis that I write.
Yeah.
Yeah. Only the way that only as a fantasy. And there's a ton of shit like that where people are into stuff that's only as a fantasy. Like people who are into like I guess age play. We kind of brought this up on a recent Undertale, the whole like daddy kink thing.
Oh yeah.
Like, because I feel like that's a very popular thing, you know, like that. It just you see it a lot, and I think it's something that people just don't talk about. But I mean, God, like the whole just the schoolgirl aesthetic and the whole.
Oh yeah, that's a big thing.
Oh, like. I'm gonna fail this class. Is there anything I can do to change? Well, I don't know. Maybe if you see me after class, we can work something out. Bow, chicka, bow, wow. Penis coming out. Boobs coming out. Sex happening. Yes.
That's very popular.
Yes.
And it's like a fantasy, but like I think that like most people, like most, teenagers aren't actually into like gross old dudes. But the idea of it, I think, is attractive to people, even if they would never actually do it. Or, like, people fantasizing about being, sex workers, like strippers, prostitutes. Like, I think people like to imagine that kind of thing, even if they wouldn't actually do it themselves. And that's cool, too.
My 6th grade science teacher was hot.
Sweet.
He was a new teacher. Like, that was his first year working. He was so hot.
Yeah, go on. Or is that the end of the story?
No, thank God he wasn't a pedophile. Otherwise, I would have lost my virginity in 6th grade.
Oh my god.
Oh god.
Well, and that's something important to remember. God, this is going way crazy serious. But, okay, because I feel like this comes up a lot. Where someone who's a teenager will want, to get it on with an older person, and people will be like, oh, but, the younger person was into it, like...
You have to have maturity.
Yeah, it's like, okay, this is actually a story from my life. When I was 15, I had a crush on I was a freshman in high school, and I had a crush on a guy who was a senior, and I didn't know how old he was, and he didn't know how old I was, and we were both kind of like mutually feeling it, and then we realized that I was 15 and he was 19, and he immediately backed off. And I was pissed. Like, I was very sad, and like I took it hard because I was 15 years old.
She took it hard.
She wanted to take it hard.
I wanted
she
to take it
it
hard. I did not get it, much to my 15-year-old disappointment. But looking back on the situation now as an adult, I actually really admire that, and I think it's really cool.
Yeah, that he was mature enough to
Yeah.
be like, whoa, we need to stop right now.
Because he was into it. Like when he thought I thought he was 17, he thought I was 17. Like, we both thought that the age gap wasn't that what it was. And then, it was. And, yeah, it's like the older person should have the maturity to realize that even if the younger person wants it, it's just not cool. It's just not.
My fucking feather.
4 years at that point in your life is a vast gap, and like 4 years when you get older is obviously not. Like, I'm 31. Like,
4.5 years apart.
Yeah, exactly. Well, y'all are in your 20s, and like, me dating someone 4 years older or younger than me, I don't.
It's not too terrible.
No, it wouldn't. It would be like negligible, but when you're a teenager, it's not cool.
Me and Emma's math was if you take your age and divide it in half and then add 2 or add 7. You take your age, divide it in half.
Wait, is it 2 or is it 7?
It's 7. If you take your age and divide it in half and then add 7, then that's an acceptable age range.
Yeah, I mean, it's such a gray area. Like, I hesitate to say that there's any set rule for it, but basically, I guess the thing for me, like, the thing to keep in mind if, you as a young person ever find yourself in that situation, like, just stop and think, like, why is this person not with people as mature as they are. You know, it's
no, that's not fair. A 26-year-old man who could be as mature as a 15-year-old girl.
Well, okay, that's very true. That's a good point.
Let's definitely say as.
I shouldn't have used the word maturity.
Age.
Yeah.
Because
yeah, like
well, everybody matures at a different rate, especially in that age range.
It's still just like, I don't know.
When you're looking at like young adults, you know, they
Damn it.
typically sometimes they'll age. They mature at different rates. Like there's
That's like Super Mario Maker status.
Okay,
Luigi is a sad.
I fucked that up. Let's
Luigi
just move
sucks.
on.
No,
I like
love
Luigi.
I like Green Mario
I wanted to
too.
bang Luigi.
I'd bang Luigi.
I would not bang Luigi.
Well, you know, that's understandable.
I wouldn't bang Mario either.
Oh
Just
yeah,
to
he'd kill you.
Oh, Jesus.
Oh god,
Ah, balls!
that was a terrible decision. Melly.
I wasn't paying attention.
Oh, this is my worst fucking nightmare right here.
Oh, no.
Castle?
No, this is the one when we played the last time where I kept fucking dying and I couldn't beat it. And
Oh,
I,
is this the first
Yeah,
one
my
with
pants.
the
Totally
Rasnor
rage
or
quit.
whatever?
yeah,
Stuff.
The little
Sorry,
Triceratops
I'm
on
on a fucking
carousel.
yeah.
Or
This
whatever.
level.
Fair Saul. Weird.
Reznor or whatever it's called.
Right.
Trent Reznor. It's the Nine Inch Nails dinosaurs.
It's fucking boner fish.
Dry fish.
I saw Nine Inch Nails in concert one time. It was fucking awesome. But it was after he stopped dressing like he did in the 90s. Like, he didn't have the long hair. And he wasn't all, like, skinny and stuff anymore. He just looked like an old man. And I was like, yeah, like, he had, like, short hair, and he just came on stage in, like, jeans and a t-shirt. And, like, the music sounded really good, but I was just like, this isn't exactly what I was expecting. He kind of looked like Henry Rollins.
I saw Matchbox 20 and
There was no spike there. There was no spike there.
That was bullshit.
There was no spike
The
there.
Nintendo.
There was no spike there.
Nintendo says that there's a
I saw
spike
Matchbox
there.
There was no spike there.
Because you were in
Really?
its presence.
Bye. Bye. Bye.
I
Bye.
didn't really care for either.
Are we
of them.
buying?
My ticket was bought.
We probably should.
But
Bye.
it was actually a good concert.
Well, that's good.
I enjoyed myself.
Yeah.
One thing I've always wondered about like these bullet bills is the other like the super strong arm always looks like a second eyeball, so it looks like it just has a lazy eye.
Oh,
So,
like a flounder.
Yeah.
That's funny. I know. Now it's
then-
all I can see. I've
Yeah,
never
same.
noticed that before, and now thank you for
And
burning
then-
that into my brain.
Yeah, that's what I've always seen because it took me a long time to realize that like that was supposed to be like a buff arm, like they were like, oh yeah, fucking ramming shit,
no, it's
but it just
not
looked like a
just see
lazy eye.
lazy eye bullet bill.
Damn it!
Like he actually just kind of looked like he had a deformity, not really like
Is
a.
Bullet Bill organic or artificial?
He's organically artificial.
Yeah.
He's organificial.
Well, like we were talking about this in one of the previous episodes for this playthrough. This game in particular personified things that are just totally not alive. Like the ball and chain
Yeah.
has the it has a name in the end credits when it when it tells you like all the
Thwomp.
yeah exactly.
cinder
Swamp's a great
block.
example.
Chain Chomp.
Chain chomp. Chain
Although-
chomps are fucking terrifying if you think about it.
Yeah,
Yeah, they are.
What the fucking hell?
Fucking cannonball
Penis. Okay,
dogs on a chain.
let's go ahead
Okay.
and end it here.
Goodbye.
Bye. Next time we're
Bye.
gonna